Hi, this is the Professional Amateur coming to you with another review. This week, I checked out Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. And this 2009 film was directed by Andrzej Barkowiak and stars Kirsten Kreuk, Neil McDonough, and Michael Clark Duncan, among others, of course. The story of this film follows this character from the video game Street Fighter, and that character is Chun-Li. She's the girl with all the kicks. And so it is her story. It follows her from, childhood to adulthood. And so her childhood, she lives in this giant mansion with her father and mother, but then her father is kidnapped by Bison. And so she lives in this mansion for a while. Then when she grows up, she gets this mysterious scroll, which tells her to go to Bangkok. And so she goes to Bangkok, she becomes like a homeless person there on the streets, and then she bumps into this mysterious organization who is also trying to take down Bison. And so she teams up with them to, take on Bison. But what will happen exactly? Well, you have to watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this movie. Well, before I start, I gotta tell you, this movie was so bad it's good. I was absolutely having a ball with it. I was just laughing at it, laughing at the story, laughing at the action, laughing at basically everything they were doing. And it's just so bad it's good. So definitely take everything I have to say with kind of a grain of salt that way, and maybe check it out yourself if you think it's worth a watch. With that being said, what did I like about it? Well, this style of movie is so strange. I loved it. It is made in 2009, but it wants to be a 90s action film, like 100%. They try to do so much kind of 90s kind of genre stuff. Like, for example, lots of kind of running through alleys. That was a popular thing, and knocking over, food carts. And in the 90s, they also had the characteristic of having the bad guy as like a corporate bad guy. And in this one, they do the same. Like, it's Bison right out of the video game, and he is supposed to be wearing, I guess, like his uniform. But in this one, he's just wearing a suit and tie, and I guess he's kind of a criminal underlord, but he's also like a real estate developer. So he's like buying up the slums in Bangkok and wants to, turn it over to develop it for big condos or whatever. And so that is the bad guy. It's just everything about it just wants to be 90s. I don't know what it is. It's also the way they tell the story as well. They have lots of like kind of backstory inserts in there where they will have like a flashback to when they're younger, and not even just for Chun-Li. They'll do it for a few other characters as well. And so yeah, it's interestingly told that way. It is, I don't know, I thought it was actually supposed to be a satire at some points. I was like, are they really doing this? Is this a satire on 90s action film? And yeah, so just very strange kind of style to it. But again, like, I laughed at it so much. I thought it was great that way. Also, one aspect that I thought was really entertaining was that it makes absolutely no sense. Like, everything makes no sense. Like, every story point, like, you don't have no idea what's going on. It is very strange that way. But at the same time, like, that's what I'm laughing at, right? And so there's just so many things that don't make sense. Like, there's Bison, I just mentioned him. Like, why is he a corporate person? I don't know. There's Chun-Li, and she just has quite a few, like, unintentionally funny lines. Like, she receives this scroll, and she opens it, and you'll never believe what she says.
Says.
So that was just funny for me. And then when she does get the scroll translated, it tells her to go be with the people in Bangkok, and she kind of interprets that as go be homeless on the streets of Bangkok. And so she leaves her mansion to go to Thailand and be homeless, and it is so funny how it all works out. Like, I'm just sitting there like, didn't you have any money? Like, you couldn't have done anything else. Like, it is very strange that way. Other things that just kind of happen, like the police show up, and then like another army just kind of shows up and they start shooting at each other. You're just like, what is going on? There's just so many things like that. Oh, one of the strangest things happens like halfway through. It is, she goes to this club because she like finds out someone's working for Bison, and so she just goes there and like has a dance battle with the person, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. Here, I'll clip it in here for you. And so that lasts like 3 or 4 minutes, this dance battle. I don't know what's going on. But I thought it was all entertaining. I was just laughing away with it. So definitely something there if you do like bad movies. In addition, there are other things that I liked about it. You know, I did like the aspect that they were using different languages, like a lot of the time. Like they're in Bangkok, but they're also go to Hong Kong and go here and go there. And so they're always like using different languages. And I don't know, I enjoyed that, having to turn my subtitles on and read for a little bit. Other than that, you know, the shooting is fine, the lighting is fine, the sound is fine. There's even some good acting, I would say, too. But yeah, so lots of stuff that goes into this to make it an entertaining watch, or at least entertaining for someone like me. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, did I mention the story doesn't make sense? I think I did, but I will leave that in the first half. I thought that was just so much fun. However, with that being said, this is supposed to be a Street Fighter movie, I guess. However, it has none of that feeling. It does not feel like a Street Fighter film at all. None of the people even have their costumes. They even have like Vega, and Vega is like the guy with the mask, but they kind of messed up his mask. It's like a metallic mask now. I always remembered it as kind of much more like a porcelain mask, and so they even screwed that up. They have like what's his name, Belrog, but he doesn't have boxing gloves. They have Bison in a suit, which doesn't make sense. Chun-Li, I guess she wears blue sometimes, but she never has that outfit. She never even really has her hair. I guess she has her hair in like one scene, but that's really it. They have Jen, and Jen is supposed to be like this old master with like long white hair, and he's not like that in this one. They have, who else? Is it Charlie Nash is a character, I think, and he's supposed to have like this really cool hair, but he doesn't even have it there. So even like watching it, I like had to figure out like, is this supposed to be a character? Is that supposed to be a character? And so I did have to look them up afterwards and find out like who their characters were supposed to be, but they look absolutely nothing like their characters. And that is, I don't know, that is such a silly design that way. In addition, none of the fights feel like Street Fighter fights. You know, Street Fighter, the game, it has like that 2D kind of panel. And none of the fights are like that. They're very kind of dynamic, and they're always like spinning around each other and stuff. And I'm just like, that's not, you know, the 2D fighting one that I remember from my childhood. And I was just like, oh man, like, it's not only that, it's the fights themselves. Like Chun-Li is like using like a bamboo pole, and I'm like, that would never happen, and everyone's using a gun as well. There are so many gunfights in this one. I know they're supposed to be like a criminal organization, I guess, but they're still in the Street Fighter world where, you know, they're supposed to having street fights. It's not street gun battles, right? It's Street Fighter. And so they are always firing guns, especially the bad guys. Belrog is always just like shooting people. Charlie Nash is always like shooting people as well. So none of it ever feels like Street Fighter. I guess that's kind of like that satire aspect that I mentioned, but it does not work as a Street Fighter one. And so going through, I just kept thinking, like, is this supposed to be Street Fighter? Like, how does that even relate to Street Fighter? And just all of this stuff that really goes into it to make it not a Street Fighter movie. But, you know, something to think about, something to discuss while you're watching it as well. So, yeah, just lots of stuff that goes into this one to make it this really bizarre but enjoyable movie. And I gotta say again, like, it's so crazy how nothing makes sense. Like, I was watching it, I'm pretty good with plots and stuff, but, like, half the time I'm like, why is she becoming homeless? Why doesn't she get a hotel? Like, why would she go there? Why is Charlie Nash just showing up there and kissing this person? I don't know. It's so bizarre. Like, there's so many things that go into it that just make it a wild experience. So who would I recommend this movie for? Well, I think if you love bad movies like myself, then yeah, you can turn this one on and have a laugh riot with it. If you have like a bad movie night, it's probably going to be very entertaining in the group as well. As for a rating, you've probably guessed it by now, but this movie is so bad it's good. So I'm going to give it the good bad score of 4.5. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.